Hello guys, welcome to my channel Chem Insider. So in today's class we are going to discuss about next topic from our general classification of elements and periodicity of properties, that is about the second important periodicity, that is ionization enthalpy. So what is ionization enthalpy first of all? So whenever an ion has to be formed, as we have discussed in the ionic radii concept, we observed that electrons has to be lost by an atom, right? An atom has to lose electron in order to get converted to ions, and in some cases it has to gain electrons in order to get converted to ions. Now let us consider for formation of cations respectively. So whenever a cation has to be formed, an atom has to lose electron. Now for an atom to lose electron, it's not just a simple clear process, okay, I'll let her give them an electron, something like that. What it has to undergo is, we have to provide some amount of energy to that atom in order to lose that particular electron. Okay, so now let us consider an example of sodium. So sodium atom loses an electron, right, to form Na+. Sodium atom loses an electron to form Na+. We all know that. But is sodium really losing its electron for nothing? No. What we are going to observe over here is, we are providing some amount of energy to the sodium in order to, providing some energy for the electron in order to that being evaporated from the shell of sodium atom. Now let us consider just an electron configuration diagram for that. If you consider this as a nucleus of sodium, if this is a nucleus of the sodium, and we have 1s orbital, we have 2s orbital, 2p orbital, we have 3s orbital, and one electron present in the 3s orbital. We know that it will be right over here, right? So now if you observe clearly, if you fill the electrons of 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, now if you observe here carefully, we have 6 electrons on the 2p orbital, 2 electrons on 2s, and 2 electrons on 1s, and we have 1 electron in the 3s orbital. Now this is the ground state, right? So whenever you provide some amount of energy to an electron which is present in the ground state, it will get excited. So now let us say I am providing some energy to this electron. Okay, what it has to do is, it has to overcome the attraction of the nucleus. Okay, because we know that these electrons are attracted towards the nucleus, and we have to provide sufficient amount of energy such that this electron overcomes this attraction and gets excited. Okay, in such a manner we get sodium being converted to sodium plus ion. So what is the ionization enthalpy then? So ionization enthalpy is a change in enthalpy when an ion is formed or when an electron is excited. Okay, so in this particular process we are removing an electron, so there will be change in enthalpy, that is of delta Hi. That is the enthalpy of ionization. We also call it as ionization enthalpy. Since we have to provide energy to the system, ionization enthalpy will always be a positive value, and it is denoted for the symbol of kilojoules per mole. Its SI unit is kilojoules per mole. So ionization enthalpy is always positive because we have to provide energy in order to remove an electron. So therefore delta Hi will always be positive, and its unit is kilojoules per mole. So now, what is the definition for ionization enthalpy? Ionization enthalpy is the amount of energy provided. Ionization enthalpy is the minimum amount of energy required to excite an electron or required to liberate an electron from its nuclear shielding, from its nuclear charge attraction from an isolated gaseous atom. Yes, isolated gaseous atom. What is this isolated gaseous atom? If it is solid, we won't be able to remove those electrons. If it is a gas, we can easily remove those electrons. So therefore it has to be an isolated gaseous atom. We have to respectively use that isolated gaseous atom. So what is ionization enthalpy? It is the amount of energy required to liberate an electron from the outermost shell of a isolated gaseous atom. Okay, so that is what we call it as ionization enthalpy. Okay, so this ionization enthalpy depends upon three main factors. One is about the atomic radii, second one is nuclear charge attraction, and third one is shielding effect. So what are these three? Atomic radii we have discussed in the previous video itself. Atomic radii, it is nothing but the size of the atoms with increasing atomic number. So next is about the effective nuclear charge. So what is effective nuclear charge? The attraction of electrons in an orbit towards the nucleus is called the effective nuclear charge. So if this electron is having some amount of effective nuclear charge or attraction towards the nucleus, we are supposed to say it has some amount of effective nuclear charge present on it. And similarly, the third point is about the electron repulsion, that is nothing but what we called as shielding effect. Okay, so now ionization enthalpy. What did you define about ionization enthalpy? Ionization enthalpy is the amount of energy. Ionization enthalpy is the amount of energy required to liberate an electron from its outermost shell of an isolated gaseous atom. Now what we do observe over here is this ionization enthalpy are of three, depends upon three factors. First factor is about the atomic radii. First factor is about the atomic radii. Second factor is about effective nuclear charge. And third one is about the shielding or screening effect. Shielding or screening effect. So these three are the very important points which define the ionization enthalpy of a given atom. So now, before going to these three factors, one point what we have to remind of always is ionization enthalpy can be for one electron is different, for second electron is different, and in the third electron is different. So there are multiple values of ionization enthalpy such as IE1, that is the first ionization enthalpy, IE2, the second ionization enthalpy, IE3, the third ionization enthalpy, and so on. What we always have to remember is the ionization enthalpy of the first order is always less than the ionization enthalpy of the second order. That is because whenever you remove an electron from an isolated gaseous atom, now we have increased its effective nuclear charge. Let's see. So if I say sodium atom itself, the sodium atom has 11 protons and 11 electrons, right? So now if you remove one electron, then we'll be left with 10 electrons. So what we have done here is, if we divide the ratio of protons to neutrons, 11 protons by 11 electrons, that gives us 1. Effective nuclear charge is 1. If you take away an electron from this, then the number of total protons is 11, number of electrons is 10. So energy will be more than 1, right? Effective nuclear charge will be more than 1. So therefore, what happens is, if the number of protons is much more greater than the number of electrons present in nucleus, we have to suppose to give more amount of energy in order to remove the successive electrons. Like if you remove the first one electron easily, the second electron, if you have to remove the second electron, we have to provide more amount of energy than that of the IE1. Okay, we have to provide more energy. Therefore, IE3 will always be greater than IE2. IE2 will always be greater than IE1. This is a normal trend. Perhaps sometimes what happens is, because of these other three factors, it might vary for certain atoms or elements. In some cases what happens is IE2 will be less and IE1 will be greater. And in some cases IE3 will be greater and IE2 will be less and IE1 will be furthermore greater than IE3. In certain cases what we observe is there will be slightly bit of shuffling between the ionization enthalpy of the first, second and third electron. But what happens is usually they increase with increase in the ionization number. Okay, so now how does these factors affect this ionization enthalpy? So first we'll discuss about the trend along with this atomic radii, effective nuclear charge and shielding effect. So first, for the change across the period, so what happens to the ionization enthalpy when we move across the period? So when we move across the period, that is from left to right, when we move from left to right, we have observed in the previous video itself, atomic radii decreases, right? When we move from across the period from left to right of a period, atomic radii decreases. So atomic radii decreases. So what happens when atomic radii decreases? Let us say if this is the penultimate shell of an atom of the first alkali group, okay, in the alkali group you have the first penultimate shell in this size, and what happens is this penultimate shell will be decreased because of more amount of electrons. That is because if you are having a nucleus with one proton and one electron, it will be attracting those electrons towards itself with some extent. When you increase the number of atomic number, what happens is the number of electrons present on the outermost shell increases, which results in increase in the protons of the nucleus also, which is nothing but increase in effective nuclear charge. Therefore, with the increase in effective nuclear charge, we observe the decrease in size of the orbital, decrease in size of the shell. So now this is the valence shell or outermost shell of an atom. So now if you consider this shell, what happens here is, for adding more and more electrons to this atom, that is nothing but increasing the atomic number, the size decreases as we have discussed in the previous video. So therefore, if I say this is for sodium, this is the outermost shell of sodium atom, the outermost shell of chlorine will be slightly less of this size. Even though the shell is same, the size will be reduced because of increase in the effective nuclear charge. So what we can say is, if atomic radii decreases, we know effective nuclear charge increases. If atomic radii decreases, effective nuclear charge increases. So now, if effective nuclear charge is increasing, that means the electron present on the outermost shell is attracted more towards the nucleus. That means we have to provide more amount of ionization enthalpy. That is, we need to provide more amount of energy in order to remove an electron if the effective nuclear charge is increasing. That is, for the sodium atom we need to have less energy in order to remove its electron from sodium, whereas for chlorine atom we need to provide a very high amount of energy in order to remove its electron from its outermost shell. So what we can say is, across the period, as the atomic radii decreases, effective nuclear charge increases. As the atomic radii decreases, effective nuclear charge increases, which results in increase in ionization enthalpy. From left to right, that is from across the period, with the increase in effective nuclear charge, ionization enthalpy starts to begin greater and greater. So we need more and more energy in order to remove electron as in the smaller atoms from left to right. Okay. Next, what about down the group? Before going to shielding or screening effect, first we'll discuss about these changes, which is a normal trend. Because of a shielding or screening effect, we observe a slight different trend observed, whereas for the considering the atoms present in the period or group. So now for second point, that is variation down the group. So what happens to the ionization enthalpy when we go down the group? So when we go down the group, what we know is atomic radii increases, right? As we go down the group, we know atomic radii increases. So atomic radii increases means effective nuclear charge will be decreasing, right? If atomic radii increases, the size will be more and more, and the extent of electron being attracted by the nucleus will be more and more less. Therefore, with the increase in atomic radii, effective nuclear charge decreases. Effective nuclear charge decreases with increase in atomic radii. So therefore, what we can conclude from this is, with the increase in atomic radii and decrease in effective nuclear charge, ionization enthalpy decreases. Ionization enthalpy decreases down the group. Okay, so this is about the variation in case of, or trend in case of periodicity of ionization enthalpy. So first, if we go across the period, ionization enthalpy increases. As we go down the group, the amount of energy required to remove an electron will be less. Therefore, ionization enthalpy decreases. Okay, so it increases as we go across the period, and it decreases as we go down the group. That is because we need more amount of energy if we increase the atomic number from left to right, because the electrons will be adding up to the same shell, their effective nuclear charge will be increasing. And if you observe in case of down the group, their size will be more and therefore their atomic radii will be high, which results in their decrease in effective nuclear charge, which results in decrease in their ionization enthalpy. Okay, so this is about now. Now let us just observe the variation of atoms ionization enthalpy. So now what happens here is, in case of down the group, we don't observe any particular kind of variation. Usually it goes on in decreasing for the ionization enthalpy for down the group. But as we go across the period, like if I say I plot a graph of ionization enthalpy on y-axis and atomic number, as we plot ionization enthalpy on y-axis and atomic number on the x-axis, we certainly clearly observe certain variation here. Okay, so let us say this is for 10, 20, 30, 40 and ionization enthalpy of certain variable ranges. What happens is the ionization enthalpy of hydrogen is very less. Okay, somewhere around here. Ionization enthalpy of hydrogen. Let us mark it with a different color. Okay, so ionization enthalpy of hydrogen will be somewhere over here, and that of helium will be very high, because helium has a very high very stable electronic configuration of NS2. Helium has very high electronic configuration, and similarly when we come across a sodium, it will be less, lithium it will be less, and we observe certain change. That is, if you go for lithium, beryllium and boron, if we come across the second period elements from left to right, that is n is equal to 2 period, what happens is n is equal to 2, the first ionization enthalpy of lithium is less than first ionization enthalpy of beryllium. Okay, so ionization energy of lithium is less than that of the beryllium. We know that is because ionization enthalpy increases across the period. But later further what we observe is, we observe a variation in case of first ionization enthalpy of boron. That is because whenever you consider beryllium, it has 1s2, 2s2 orbital, and whereas boron, it has 1s2, 2s2, 2p electronic configuration. Okay, so beryllium has 1s2, 2s2 electron, boron has 1s2, 2s2, 2p1. Okay, therefore what we observe is ionization enthalpy of beryllium is greater than ionization enthalpy of boron, even though the atomic number of boron is greater than that of the beryllium. This particular point is because of this shielding and screening effect. So what happens here is, if you consider this as the nucleus of lithium atom, okay, this is a nucleus, and we have 2 electrons in the 1s orbital of both, and we have 2s electron in 2s orbital of both. Okay, and now what we are going to observe over here is, we have 1p orbital of boron. We have 1 electron in the 2p orbital of boron. Okay, so boron, which has 1 electron in the 2p orbital, is shielded by the electrons present in 1s and 2s orbital. It is shielded by the electrons present in 1s and 2s orbital. Because of this shielding, because of the 1s and 2s electrons present before 2p1 electron, what happens is, this boron electron, so this particular boron electron is not effectively attracted towards the nucleus. Okay, since we have completely filled orbitals of 1s2 and 2s2, the 1 electron present in the 2p orbital of boron is not effectively attracted towards the nucleus. So therefore what we observe is, beryllium has a greater first ionization enthalpy when compared to lithium, as we know, because of its increase in atomic radii. But in case of boron, it is having a less ionization enthalpy when compared to beryllium. That is because it has a shielding effect arised because of the inner electrons of 1s2 and 2s2 orbital. Okay. Similarly, what we further observe over here is, not in this test, for one more example of nitrogen and oxygen. Okay, in case of nitrogen and oxygen, We know nitrogen has 3 suborbitals of p and 1 electron in each of them. 2px, 2py and 2pz has 1 electron each, whereas oxygen has 2 electrons in 2px, 1 in 2py and 1 in 2pz. Now we have come across the screening effect. So what is the screening effect here is, because of presence of 2 electrons in the same suborbital, because of the presence of 2 electrons in the same suborbital, those 2 electrons will be having a repulsion between them. Because the 2 electrons are present in the same suborbital, those 2 electrons will be observing some amount of repulsion. Therefore, they show a tendency to lose that electron quite often when compared to nitrogen. Okay, when compared to nitrogen, oxygen's first ionization enthalpy is low. Oxygen, when compared to ionization enthalpy of nitrogen, ionization enthalpy of oxygen, that is the first ionization enthalpy, is low when compared to nitrogen, because the 2 electrons which is present in the 2px orbital will be experiencing repulsion. Okay, so now what we observe here is, as we go down the group, we don't observe any kind of a shielding or screening effect. Clearly increase in ionization enthalpy. That means it decreases the ionization enthalpy with increase in atomic number. But as we go across the period, we have certain variations. That is because of shells having multiple orbitals, and further orbitals present in them have multiple suborbitals acquiring multiple electrons, which may experience electron-electron repulsion. Okay, as in case of lithium, beryllium, boron, we have beryllium with a higher ionization enthalpy, because the 2p orbital's first electron will be easier to remove when compared to the 2s electrons, because 2p electrons will be having a shielding effect because of the inner electrons present. Whereas in case of nitrogen and oxygen, we have a different kind of a situation where the 2 electrons of oxygen will be attached, present in the same suborbital, experiencing repulsion, which is not clearly observed in case of nitrogen. So therefore, first ionization enthalpy of nitrogen is slightly greater than that of the first ionization enthalpy of oxygen. Okay, so this is about the ionization enthalpy and its various trends and factors which affects this ionization enthalpy. I hope you have understood all these concepts which I have discussed here. If you have any doubt, please do comment down below, or you can mail those doubts to me at my mail ID, which I have provided in the description box. Thank you for watching.